Alrighty, here we go. Our first lesson in music theory. I'm going to be looking at chapter 1 in the textbook as well as the workbook. At the end of this lesson, you should be able to do everything in section 1.1 on page 1 in the notebook. The first thing we're going to talk about is notes on the piano and how they work, and where they are. I'm going to call this note here middle C. On the piano, you know it's middle C because it's usually over the pedals, or it's the closest to the middle of the piano. You can find the C by finding, say, I call these two rabbit ears here. There's one here and one there. And just to the left of each, there is a C. Okay, now there are 8 C's on the piano, and each one of them have a specific number so that we would know what C we're referring to, such as C1, C2, C3, and C4, and so forth. Middle C is C4. The C up from middle C is C5, and the C up from that is C6, and so forth. The C below middle C is C3, and so forth, down to C2 and C1. Everything from C4 up to the B would be 4. So here would be C or D4, E4, F4, G4, A4, and B4. And then we get to the 5s and C5, D5, E5, F5, G5, A5, B5. One of the things to really be aware of here is that middle C is C4. The B directly next to middle C is B3. And it goes A3, G3, F3, E3, D3, and then C3, and then so forth. So that is how notation works on the piano, as well as with the black keys here, like this black pitch here. Here you have a B, and you have an A. This black note here is B flat and F sharp, and it would be B flat 4 or F sharp 4. It works that way everywhere on the piano. On the staff. This is a grand staff. Usually only piano players are looking at it. It's called a grand staff because it has a treble clef and the bass clef. Usually an instrument will play from just one or the other of the treble clef or the bass clef. Middle C here is also very much so in the middle. Usually you have one ledger line and one middle C, and it goes up. And this would be C, and on the bass clef has the same thing. So this would be the same pitch on the piano. You have C here, D, 4, E4, F4, G4, A4, B4, and at this C here, you have C5, and then so forth. Same as if you're going down. You have C4 here, but remember what note is under C4? B3, A3, G3, F3, E3, D3, and then C3, and then we have B2, and so forth. That is how notation and octaves and registers are notated on the piano as well as on the grand staff. If you have any questions, talk to me. Otherwise, as soon as you can, please get in page 1. Next, we will move on to exercises 1 and 2 and talk about the next thing we need to learn. Thank you. Bye-bye. Okay, here we go. Ledger lines and how they work. As we mentioned before, middle C is actually on a ledger line. This little line that is going through the note is the ledger line. If you were to go up from middle C, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, that's C5. Let's continue going. D, E, F, G, this A here is on the ledger line. And then if you were to keep going, you draw the ledger line, you place the note on top of the ledger line. Then if you were to keep going, let me make a little room for myself here. If we were to keep going, you place 2 ledger lines, and the C goes on that. That would be the next C. And if we were to keep going, you would place the next note on top of that, and it goes on theoretically indefinitely. If you're working with the bass clef, the same idea here. You have middle C that is on a ledger line, and you go down the next C. The next C is on a ledger line, and then it just keeps on going. And that should be all the information you need to do page 1. Thank you. Good luck. And here are the last few things I need to explain to you. The first is this tenor clef. This tenor clef is used by various instruments like cello in certain situations. It just changes where C is. C in this case is right here, and this is C4. So an octave below that, this would be C3. And then an octave above that would be C5. It just dislocates where everything is in terms of the treble clef and the bass clef, but it just readjusts where C is for easiness of reading. Certain instruments won't have to read too many ledger lines. The other clef, the alto clef, same thing. C4 is right here. C5 is right here. And C3 is right here. And for both of these clefs, everything is the same in the middle. So you should be able to do exercise 1-2 on page 3 in your workbook. You should be able to do page 3 and page 4. Good luck with that. Have it done in about a week. Thank you. Bye-bye.